Sorry, guys. As soon as I get on, I'm coughing. We're good. All right, sorry. All right, I can let the people know that I'm jumping in. And sorry, I'm a little bit late, guys. Your computer is being a little messed up. Okay. All right, we got 2 people jumped on. Let's see, just grabbing the link for everybody here. There we go. Okay. There we go, and just one more. Cool. All right, so Free Breaker, how you doing, man? Sports Zone, Bitcoin showing off, yeah, yeah. Good morning, J. Robs, Noah. Hey, Kyle from the Netherlands. What's up? How you doing? You create quality content. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Jo, Ligia, AJ, Cookie. What's up? Okay, so let's go over yesterday's trade, and then we'll plan for what we could potentially prepare for today. But yeah, yesterday was a little bit of a bummer. We had we were looking at the 5-minute structure. Let's see here. Yeah, so here at the time was the level that we were interested in. I believe it was this level. It was a 15-minute. I could always just look at the signal and read it. I believe it's a 15-minute level. Yeah, it was a 5. It was definitely a 5. Okay, so let's go look at the signals really quick. Yeah, so we were waiting on 5-minute candle close below this key level here. And we jumped in, and then like shortly afterwards, we hit the point of control alongside the VWAP, and we built like this double bottom structure. And yeah, some people got out using the 3-minute structure to define or it was a 2-minute structure to define a break of downtrending internal momentum right here off of the POC and the VWAP. And some people jumped out with a small amount of profits, but we were hoping for a full rotation down to the Valley area low, and we never got it. So that's a bit of a bummer. But if we look at the 15-minute structure right now, we're now inside of this like hourly supply concern area here. We built a bit of a regression trend along our way there. This is with our ascending resistance here. So we can actually map that out. So we got the pace of the sellers here, right? And the pace of the buyers here. So we're building this regression trend where we're basically grabbing all the liquidity from the upside of the structure, right? But we're keep stacking more and more below us. So statistically, these regression trends typically break to the downside because of that behavior. We'll see what happens. Right now, we're looking a little weak. In the 5-minute structure, we can see that we're kind of forming a potential, it's not validated yet, but we might be getting a potential head and shoulders posture, showing us warning signs of distribution of funds. So we're just going to wait for the confirmation. Right now, the key level is right here at 106.829. And if we look at the age of this regression trend and our range here, since we haven't really gotten down lower, it's about a day and 14 hours. So we're going to look at the liquidation heat map to give us an idea of like where the liquidity is resting. I know most of it's going to be below us, but we'll look at the 24-hour. But yeah, so we have like most of the weighted liquidity below us. That starts at the bottom of this regression trend here. Let's go back to that. There we go. So around here at $104,003.28. There's $59 million there in liquidity. We have a lot more than that along the way down, but that's where most of the way liquidity ends. It's actually, sorry, it's about $70 million, not 59 or so. But yeah, $70 million. And we have some at 104,727. And then we have a bit of weighted liquidity around 105.7 as well. But a majority of it ends at 104,000. So if we mark that on our chart, oops, my bad. We grab a horizontal line, coordinates 104.0227. Oh, it's 103. Okay. There we go. So massive majority of the liquidity ends right here, which is in line with the previous point of control and this local demand zone here. So if we do break to the downside, we could have a full rotation down to grab that liquidity eventually. Okay. And since we already used this, we don't need this anymore. We're going to just convert this to the local value area high. And that'll be one of our barriers along the way down if we get this confirmation, right? So along the way down, what we would have to worry about if this confirms, now that we're in the supply concern, because we have that confluence, now we just need the structural confluence confirmation here for that change of character on the 5-minute, right? Because we got that healthy pullback, the higher high, generating this is our strong low. So if this breaks, we'd have that change of character. Then we have to watch out for the VWAP alongside with the uptrending momentum. So because we have the confluence of both the VWAP and the uptrending momentum here, it's a good idea to look at the order books and see if there are buy orders waiting at that area. So it's around 106,500. Let's pull up the order books on CoinGlass. Here's the link for the order books if anyone needs it. What's up, Brian? How you doing, man? Shanti, what's up? So you're saying we finally go down? we could finally go down, yeah. Like statistically, based on the posture, we should be going down. So here at 106.6, there is a buy wall. So there are people with about 250 Bitcoin waiting at 106.6. So right about just above that limit order. I mean, that uptrending momentum here. Yeah, so we got some people trying to undercut the VWAP right now in the order books with this buy wall. So you got to watch out for that along the way. And as time progresses, the positioning of where our momentum is will change, right? So if we drag our feet a little bit here, then eventually this buy wall is going to be in line with the positioning of this uptrending momentum. So it might not technically be an undercut if given enough time, right? So if we fall down slow, yeah, eventually that buy wall will be aligned with the uptrending momentum. And with the confluence of the VWAP there, yeah, it might induce a bounce. But that bounce might not be enough to get you stopped out. So I'm going to be planning for a short here. The only thing that'll make me nervous about the trade is that VWAP. But if we break that and then we lose momentum, this regression trend will end, and then we'll start chasing after the liquidity that's below these lows here, with the massive majority of it being right here. So that's my trade plan for today. Mostly short-term bearish, looking for like a correction here. Zoom out on the 4 hour, see how we're doing there. We broke this high. Yeah. And if we end up getting consolidation instead, our next level for like continuation, if we end up getting consolidation and we end up breaking to the upside, our next level of interest is right here. Basically based off this local high here, the previous value area high, and then the downtrending momentum that's been holding us down since the all-time high. Right? So there's lots of confluence right here for rejection if we do continue to go up. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if Bitcoin broke to the upside instead of like actually giving us this correction here. All right, well, that's Bitcoin. That's what I'm planning for. Is there any questions about that or any assets you guys want to look at? I've got until 9:30 before my next call with the community, so we got about 40 minutes or so. Vacation, how you doing, man? Okay, so let's look at, we got some requests already to look at DOT. You're looking for a spot buy, are you? Yeah, I can see why. We were looking at this key level, never broke. Delete that. $3. Yeah, so DOT's positioning in the macro is pretty scary. So we have this is like a legacy support level right here that's been holding up since its creation, right around $3.63. And it was the deviation low as well for the value area that we were in for, I'd say, over 1,000 days now. So we're either A, at a really good price to prepare for a potential buy, right? But I'd say we need to still break like downtrending momentum here on the daily. We might be able to front run that with potential entries, kind of like what we saw in the lower time frames there, with like the inverse head and shoulders. But we really, really badly need to see acceptance inside this value area again. If we end up coming up, well, we already kind of used it as resistance, like right here. We came back up a little bit and then, yeah, resistance again. So we're now in price discovery. This is like basically the lowest it's ever been ever since its first liquidity on like day one. So yeah, we definitely don't want to see this maintain as resistance, or else we could stay going down in price discovery and get lower lows. So like DOT is getting its butt kicked. It's like, see why you're interested in buying it right now, because like we're at prices it's never been to before in terms of like it's really low, right? But you can't have that mindset like something has to recover or has to go back to its all-time highs again, especially with everything being so inflationary with these tokens. I think DOT is about 10% inflation per year. And now it also has like its market shares being absorbed by competitors. But yeah, we got this inverse head and shoulders kind of behavior here. Yeah, lots of accumulation warning. We're retesting this momentum that's been holding us up since basically the all-time low. And we're at it right now, so we'll see if we can hold it. But we have this rounded top, negative space ever since reaching it. I'd pull a fixed range from the start of this accumulation to where we currently are. We have this internal downtrending momentum here we can track. These are like the pace of the sellers. I'll look at the order books and see if this trend line is being honored still. Looks like we had a decent bounce off of here, but it could be coincidental, so we got to be careful. The little demand zone here. Send this to back. There we go. So yeah, if we break to the downside, we lose this low, then we can use this area potentially as support to generate a potential range. Whenever you see a demand zone like this, it could end up being the bottom side of an active range. Same thing with supply, right? Whenever you get that opposing change character, assume that it could potentially be the top of a range. But yeah, we need to get acceptance back inside this macro value area, or else like we could just keep using it as resistance and then get lower lows. I'm glad to see that we're actually finally breaking like some downtrending momentum, and we got signs of accumulation here. So this might technically be the bottom, but I'm not confident in that yet. Where's our daily structure? Let's go to the daily. Yeah, we could get a change of character reaction here. That's way up around $3.86. So unless we get a lower low, this is the level they need to have broken to get that change of character for a move to the upside. And really, the strength will come in when we start breaking these local highs here. And then, yeah, get support off that macro value area low again. So careful trying to front run that. But basically, yeah, this is when we start getting, you're in a position of strength once we start getting above $4.12. Everything down here is like you're just trying to front run that acceptance as quickly as you can or safely as you can. But for now, it's looking a little weak. Short term, I could see us get our full rotation to the value area high. But it's like rounded top postures make me feel like we could fall down to that demand zone. Here's the dot chart in case you need it. I'll put it in the comments or the chat there for you. But yeah, you just definitely don't want this low to be broken or else we're coming down here. You can prepare for potential shorts up here for this range. Bitcoin broke that high, which you kind of like, you think about it, if you want DOT to be able to recover, you want it to have like some relative strength while Bitcoin is pumping. You want DOT to be able to try to recover back inside that macro value area. But based on like the ceiling that we have, I'm not sure how well it'll do. We have, like I said, like that previous high here where liquidity is. Like we use this exit liquidity alongside this point of control, like point of interest, sorry, and this previous value area low. Yeah, DOT might not have enough time to recover before Bitcoin starts to get another rejection and bring DOT into like lower lows from there, basically. So whenever you're like trading alts or thinking about investing in alts, think about Bitcoin's relative positioning. Like, is it looking like it's ready for a drop soon? And if it's a yes, then you should reconsider investing in that asset during that time because it could go lower. And lately, alts have been getting punished like hardcore. Did I just go to indicators? Where do I get the Bitcoin VWAP indicator, or how is it called? Oh, so basically, yeah, just go to indicators. Just type in VWAP. And there's one without a creator. That means it's just made or developed by TradingView themselves. Volume weighted average price. When you click on that, it'll populate on your screen. It'll give you these like this green band and stuff like that. That's the deviation of the VWAP, which is helpful for other strategies. I personally don't use it, but if you're a Fibonacci trader, I definitely would recommend it. It's pretty helpful. And the settings I would recommend if you're using the multiplier is like 1 and 2.5 are like the two more used ones in traders. But yeah, and then I recommend hiding above the daily or above because it's redundant on the daily time frame because it's pulling the average weighted value from the daily. Okay, hype and virtuals. What was a virtuals request? Probably from Richmond, eh? Yeah. What's up? Okay, so virtuals. We've got a virtuals chart. And rotate this move here. Because now we got a higher high right here, right? So our key level has raised. This is now our strong low. So if this breaks, this gives us a change of character on the 5. But since we got that higher high, like our probability of getting that correction is reducing right now. Okay, so virtuals chart. Just close the dot one. Okay, so last time we looked at virtuals, we were talking about this little demand zone here. If we cut through it before, it's still a point of interest that we could use as a form of support. We also have a demand zone down here that we could fall down to. But yeah, we were talking about yesterday hitting its head off the 50-day EMA and it double topped there. We even got an SFP there for anyone who was able to take the SFP. Congrats. We have a 15-minute SFP right here. So that was probably the best entry you could have gotten for a short. Then we lost uptrending momentum, used it as resistance. And then we came down to this demand zone. What's key area of interest? Got a bounce, pulled back, hit our head off the POC. And now we're coming back down again, kind of building like a low time frame wedge structure right now in this demand zone. So we could get a bounce back up to hit that target, which is just a short-term pump, honestly. So that measurable base target. I'll zoom in on the 5-minute structure. It looks like it's trying to bottom out inside this internal structure, short-term pump kind of bottom out, not like the bottom. But if we get break at this key level here, the 5-minute candle close, it would bring us to here as a measurable target, basically, right? We're pretty much where the VWAP is. So the short-lived pump, kind of technical target kind of stuff. Then from there, I don't know if we'll get a domino impact, if that will end up causing another break. For to visualize the pathing, I can't see reasoning for it. I can see it's likely just getting our head hit off here and coming back down. And descending channel. So it's got relative weakness against Bitcoin right now, where like virtual right now is in the descending channel, right? While Bitcoin is in ascending channel. So they're moving opposite to each other right now. So that's a sign of relative weakness, basically, in virtual. It is positioning itself for a move to the upside. Like we have this short-term one here. I could see us hitting our head off of this downtrending momentum in confluence with the technical target of the smaller falling wedge and in confluence with the VWAP here. So if we get that break, I think it'll be short-lived, and we might slow crawl our way up to hit our head off of the downtrending momentum and then get another pullback before potentially breaking to the upside again. But that's the kind of pathing that I'm going to expect with what we're seeing so far on the charts for this. Let's grab the pathing tool, just get a better drawing of it here. Basically something like that. And that's based on the current active momentum, basically. Okay, so that is virtuals. I hope that helps you out, man. Let's see what we got. Link for a request from Noah. You can take a peek at Link. Okay, so we were watching a key area for shorts because of the confluence of this supply concern. We used it as we pretty much fully mitigated it, so it wasn't fully counting on it, to be honored. But last time we were here, this was like a supply concern where we came up, we hit our head off it, basically fully mitigated it here. We double topped off it, then we came down, end up losing downtrending momentum. Again, we had another supply concern. We were potentially preparing for, oh yeah, this was a while ago. Yeah, we're preparing for a short. I didn't end up taking it, but some people actually made some decent money on it. So congrats on that. And then we're preparing for another short. So we delete this. We don't need this anymore. All my orange levels need to be deleted just in case. And we were preparing for another one in confluence with that zone again, but we never got the confirmation. Shortly after we used the momentum as support. Yeah. It lost the momentum with a little Batman head and shoulders, kind of like how it sparked that drop. Right? Got this little guy. And now we're coming back down. We're at this key area of interest. We're starting to approach it now. We box these zones. Well, I guess it's already boxed. We have a 5-minute order block here. So basically in this area of interest right here, we can niche it down to the order block. Send it backwards. There we go. So if we get the confluence of a change of character occurrence around this zone, like either above it or within it, you can use that for a potential short-term long position. I can't imagine it lasting very long. I would be marking this area here as its own valley area, so we can be aware of its valley area low and see if it acts as a form of resistance, like it just recently did. There we go, valley area low here. So what you want to see is like the change of character, target the valley area low. If we get acceptance into the valley area with a break of structure, you can extend your target to the valley area high while being mindful of the point of control along the way. But yeah, if we got that change of character and we do get that acceptance, we tend to usually hit our head off the POC to pull back to potentially get it to retest to the valley area low. And then it becomes a make it or break it moment. If we can't get past the POC and we get that posing change of character, then you listen to the warning signs and you get out. But if we instead get that break structure in the higher high and break past it, then you can start targeting the valley area high from there. But yeah, there will be some babysitting involved here. Basically, you set your alarm for the valley area low and see how we behave against it, or see how we behave when we're trying to get acceptance within it. But that is Link right now. So hopefully short-term bullish from here. If we lose this level, we don't get that opposing change of character to warn us that we're going to reverse, then our next key level is down here. We have an order block here. We have a decent amount of liquidity resting below here based on the posture, and we have a previous value area low here as well. So this would be our next level if we lost this one, around $12.91. I hope that helps you out, Noah. Mark saying dot to $0. Love it. Man, it's starting to feel like that. Yeah, for sure. Not trying to be negative, but these alts look dead. I agree. It's just the altcoin season this cycle is so oversaturated. It's insane. Like last cycle, I thought it was a crazy statistic that we were making like 10,000 tokens per week. But now we're making over 1 million per week as the average compared to like the last cycle. Like that's just ridiculous. And it's just because like, you know, a 10-year-old child can make a cryptocurrency now. They can make a meme coin on pumped up fun. You know, all the attraction goes to try building instant wealth in the meme sector, and then everyone gets rugged and that money gets out of the crypto space and people start losing faith in alts because of stuff like pumped up fun. It's nuts. There are some alts that with really good utility that I think that will do really well in the future. I'm actually doing a bunch of research right now on like, since everything's really low, it's a good time to like try to pick your vehicle and what you think will actually perform really well. So now I'm in that phase where I'm trying to pick like 10 assets for like a decent hold for when the rally actually begins, and then we try to front run that season with the rally, right? Based on like others' dominance, I think we're not doing too hot, like like at all. We go to like the daily, you know, we lost our macro momentum level. We basically like this what's been holding us up since what 2017. We go to the weekly. Yeah, April 2017. Where we had that low. And this was our one of our key levels that we ended up holding really well for a bit, and then we recently lost it. So now we're at our next key level is way down here at 5.93%. So alts could still bleed, guys. They could still drop a lot more, unfortunately. And we're trying to use the others' dominance as a tool to help us identify when we'll start seeing interest, like signs of interest in the altcoin space. But it just keeps getting worse and worse. Yeah. Recently had an inverse head and shoulders kind of posture. Now we're kind of building like a rounded top with tweezers all over the place. Like a bearish engulfing tweezer reaction here, for example. We'll see if we hold. But basically, this is going to paint the picture for what most of the altcoins are going to look like, right? We're going to have a demand zone roughly around here for most alts. We're going to have most of them kind of building around a top, and most of them just losing key level of interest, like based on this chart. So this basically tells you what a majority of assets, what their picture is going to look like, right? Okay, go back to Bitcoin. We might actually break through this. Yeah, we're breaking through it now. So the pace of the sellers have shifted. Buyers are getting stronger. Oh, I got the chat. What about Teo? I see a double bottom on the hourly. Okay, let's take a look at Teo. I think we have a Teo chart. We do. Yeah, I see that double bottom on the previous value high. Breaking down trending momentum. Coming into a supply. So we need to break through this local resistance. The best way to play this off if you are late to the party is to just use patience, honestly. We're above the VWAP, which is bullish. We broke the neckline, which is bullish. We just had a recent bounce off a previous value high, which is bullish. We're breaking down trending momentum. So what I'd be waiting for, because the R&R isn't exactly there, is because we're at local resistance, we can expect potential pullback, right? Especially after having this break. So we have that pullback. If we get the pullback, if you're late to the party, we come back to this as a form of support, and then we create the higher high. You can use that break of structure, the strong low, as your stop loss guard as we get acceptance inside of this area. And then the next area of concern would be the top side of this previous range here. But we might not get that pullback. But if you're already in on the position, then congrats, man. But yeah, from here, we either hit our heads or we get acceptance within it, and then you start extending your target to here. And then you'd watch out for potential resistance around the top of this area here. But if we find support here, then awesome. You would start targeting like these previous lows here at like 352. And hope again for the same kind of behavior where we get a form of acceptance instead of a rejection or opposing change of character. You want to have that break of structure of acceptance so you can extend your target to here. So take it in pieces. But those are your 3 core barriers along the way. You know, we just got that confluence too of bouncing off this demand zone right here. So once you had that opposing change of character right here, then your primary target would be the demand zone. Whenever you see that, guys, like if you ever see confluence, especially of a previous value area data, you know, being at above a value area high like this, and you have that opposing change of character, you just look left and down and look for your demand zone. If you find, once you find it, that's where you will primarily be targeting, is the top side of that demand zone. And if we end up getting to the bottom side, then awesome, right? But that is that's tail, man. I hope that helps. Let's see. If Bitcoin's getting to the top side of the supply concern, let's see if we got to mark our next zone. Honestly, that's here to here. Lots of confluence here. But yeah, we're at the top side of this hourly supply concern. So this could act as a form of resistance. But we've mitigated this whole thing now, which is great. So we have a much higher probability of a continuation to the upside. Even if we pull back pretty steeply here, like we could consolidate for that continuation. Okay, so that was Teo. We went through Teo, we went through Chainlink, Virtual, Bitcoin. We got a quest for Ethereum and Hype. We got Caliber. Yeah, Caliber and Brandon. I'll look at Ethereum. Probably a good idea. And okay, so we have Ethereum on the 15. Yeah, we got that. And first head and shoulders break off this previous demand zone. We are now hitting our head off of this previous valley area right here. We talked about that yesterday. This is a key level right here that we want to get acceptance within this area. So we can get a range extension target to 2,655. We have supply concerns here alongside with the point of control. I think there's a lot of interest here. But yeah, right now we're hitting our head off of that value area low, and we want to get acceptance back inside that area for that much, much higher percentage chance of a continuation, right? Yeah, it's looking a lot like the other's dominance chart, honestly. We got that awkward tweezer reaction, descending channel coming in towards like a demand zone. We bounced off of the previous point of control here. We're breaking that down, trending momentum. On the 30-minute, see, we're about to get our 15-minute change of character right here. We had that pullback here, at least 2 candles, lower low. But when we went range bound here, we didn't get the lower low, so we didn't create a new strong high. But this is our strong high right here that we need to break in order to have that potential continuation up. You initially be targeting here with a confluence of the previous value low. But if we instead of getting a rejection here, if we instead get a break of structure continuation, we can hold your trade from there. But this would be like your primary take profit. It would be this value area low. This is where you're preparing for your exit mentally. So you're not getting married to your trade if you get that rejection, right? But if you get that acceptance, then you should listen to the market and try to stay in it. And then we'll be watching around the point of control at 2,530 right here. And this zone here along the way too. But getting past that, like I said, these will be your primary bosses that you need to beat in order to extend your target to this level here. But yeah, it all starts from like getting that 15-minute change of character right here though. Once we get a close below that level, you don't have to enter as soon as it closes here because you like honestly I wouldn't because of you don't really have a stop loss guard. So after you get the change of character or prior to getting the change of character, you want to see a pullback, right? Preferably before, right? If you get that pullback prior, we're stacking more buy side liquidity to help induce the pump. So if we get the pullback prior with at least 2 candles, then we get the higher high. We can use that break of structure in confluence with the change of character and that new low for a trade entry and start targeting the extreme highs and hopefully get that continuation up. So if I were to mark this level, like we want to see a candle body close above. Let's go to the 5-minute structure first. Okay, so right here would be enough. Like you do want to have like these wicks hit and broken. If that were to happen and you have a body close above this level, then I would be jumping in on a long. But like I said before, hopefully with a pullback prior to that happening. So hopefully we grab those wicks, pull back, and do some liquidity, and then get that break of structure. But yeah, that's the Ethereum. Bitcoin looking strong still. Pierre saying Bitcoin's MFI is at 91. What time frame? That must be like a low time frame. Because it's 73 on the 15-minute. 79. Yeah, imagine it being lower in the higher time frames. Yeah. Oh, you're talking about the MFI. I'm looking at the RSI. Yeah, okay. The 4-hour, okay. Hype and Theta. Bitcoin to 109 in 10 minutes. In 10 minutes. Just look at the momentum of the fall here. No, not 10 minutes. I'm not saying it's not possible, but probably a few hours. Yeah, based on the pace of the active momentum, it could take up to 7 hours. But that would be nice if it just went straight up, because if it did, we'd create a huge fair value gap, and that fair value gap would add confidence to a potential short that we could plan for up here. So if it wants to teleport to 109, I'm down. I'm cool with that. Because on the way down, when you're preparing for your short, you'll have a lot less barriers to be concerned about. And the order books will be cleared from an event like that. And that kind of imbalance is known to cause harsh corrections. To find your VWAP settings in Discord, is it !VWAP? That's a good idea. I don't have like my settings for indicators programmed that way in the Discord, but now you make me want to do it, man. Yeah, you just gave me some homework to do. I've done it with basically some abbreviations, so you can go into like the chat, any of the chats. If you're not a member, you can go into the welcome chat and you can do like exclamation points, like change character, like that, and then you get a picture, understanding what a change of character is. You get like all the what a change. Yeah, you learn all about the change of character basically from this. So whenever you see an abbreviation, you can just type that in, like POC, learn about the point of control, stuff like that. But now, yeah, I'm definitely going to be doing that for all my indicator settings. It's a good idea. There's not much liquidity left for Bitcoin on the high prices. Yeah, I agree, man. Yeah, so up here, there's some liquidity roughly around 109K, but it's not like crazy. But there is $11 billion worth of shorts at 111,000. So we're between 110 and 111 around here. There's a lot of money to be taken. So if we do blast through this, that's where we're heading. We're going for that liquidity. So people are getting liquidated like crazy between here and here. Let's get pretty intense. You know what they could do? They could close their trades, but nope. They didn't take. It's just nuts how much people hold in their trades. They've held their shorts through all this, and during the very first sign of strength, like right here, you don't see any of those positions really being closed. It just blows my mind. We'll see what happens, but you can watch the liquidation charts, or you can watch the liquidation alert systems and get notified of all the chaos as we get up there. Theta network, 18 patents. Oh man. I do gotta head out very soon. I got a call in 2 minutes. See if I can pull up. Theta lost uptrending momentum. Okay, this is a while ago. We hit that long off the double bottom here. You can delete that. This was a short off of this double top in the value area high. Delete that. This was a long. This one didn't work out. Hit our half the supply, came down. We have this downtrending momentum. We're fighting it right now in this descending channel of Theta. Got a previous macro value area here. Yep. So in a similar situation to DOT, except it's not going to be going into price discovery, but it's at a low of a very important key level. This range bound value area is 650 days old. We fail to get acceptance inside that value area again. The confluence of the supply concern here, we can delete that now. We can delete this. So to get a position of strength on the daily, we currently need to break this high. We could pull back and get a lower low to generate this as our key level, but right now it's here. So everything would have to be done in front run timeframes. But this is our daily level here. Just make sure you mark that as daily. And then zoom in. We got our change character on the hourly here, alongside with like an inverse head and shoulders kind of behavior. We're inside of this valley area. We got two kind of like stacked on top of each other. But yeah, we're at the highs right now, trying to fight the downtrending momentum. So more confluence is for preparing for shorts, technically, for Theta. But if we do manage to break past this momentum here, and we see active support with the break of structure, then we could simultaneously see this previous level act as a form of support and start a run up to the next supply concern, which is currently right here. And then from there, we have like this as a level here and this level right here. That's 75 cents. All right. I wish I could talk more about this, but I got to go. I'm sorry, man. I got a call that starts the community about a minute ago. So yes, I'll see anyone who's part of the community. I'll see you guys there. If you guys are looking about joining if you guys are thinking about joining and learning through the course or through our signals or anything like that, we got a promo code that's almost expired, like learn to earn. So you can join in with that. But yeah, you can reach out to me in the Discord if you have any questions. We do have like a welcome chat. So if you need any questions answered before joining or anything like that, you can message me. Otherwise, I'll see you guys tomorrow in the next live. But yeah, have a great day, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.